fellow chefs. This is a difficult decision. You're both very, very talented young chefs. You really challenged us on making this decision.
Dale, you are Canada's top chef.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Good job, buddy.
Well fought.
Thank you.
Job well done. Job well done.
Thank you.
I think there's someone here to see you.
Oh, buddy. We did it, man.
That's nice.
Pretty fun to watch. We are joined now by Dale MacKay. Of course, he is officially Canada's top chef. What a tough show to do.
Yeah, no kidding.
Also the executive chef and owner of Ensemble. How are you?
man.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
I
much.
like that you were actually narrating that for us. You said, watch the squeal.
What is that moment like? Because we always see it
crazy.
on reality television. It's the close-up of the finalists, whether it's something like Top Chef or it's the circular breathing you have to do. How long had you been standing there before they told you guys who the top chef was?
That was pretty quick, but we were in what we called the stew room for like 4 hours.
The
Like this
stew
for a long
room.
time. We were going crazy, but then when we were standing up there, I don't know, you almost kind of forget what it was like, but it's pretty intense. You're like, and I kept putting my head just going, say my name, say my name, say my
You
name.
have a terrible poker face, man. Like you can
Yeah.
see, well,
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't say that because you're on the show and you knew that you had won already, but you can see that pressure. I mean, you can see it in your jaw, your face, everything, just waiting for that moment to be over.
I just wanted it so bad, and and it was it's a tough thing to do, and to be away from your your family and your work and all that stuff, and it comes down to 1 second, right? I mean, second is great, but first is why.
Now
you
you
go
want to
there,
be top
right?
chef. How proud was your son Aiden?
Yeah, he was pretty pumped. He loves it, and he's a great kid. And I didn't know he was there, or my mom was there when actually
No wonder
won.
you squealed.
It was pretty exciting.
Can we talk about the fact that you knew, not only did you know for the better part of a year that you had won, your son knew for a year.
Yeah.
How good is he at keeping secrets?
Yeah, no, he's super mature, and he knows what
Can
the
we tell
circumstances
people
are.
how much the non-disclosure?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna sue me over it. So
$1 million if you guys blew the secret.
Exactly.
So how did you explain
Did
to
Aiden have to-
Aiden that
did
it
he
was
have
$1
to
million?
Yeah, I just said to him, we win 100,000, but we lose 900,000. So I said, even a 9-year-old can do that kind of math.
This is
Okay,
simple
we'll
math.
keep talking about Top Chef, but we've got to get to the food today.
Sure.
What is it that you're preparing?
I'm going to do a dish that's on the menu at Ensemble right now. It's a fresh kind of chilliwack corn succotash with cornmeal crusted scallops, and then a little bit of smoked mazutakis and some sea asparagus.
Mazutakis are mushrooms?
Yes.
Last time we had you on the show, you hadn't opened Ensemble yet. You were getting really close to it.
Yep.
But, what can people expect? I mean, people that are familiar with your work at Lumiere, there's a real refinement to the way you cook now.
and I didn't want to give really much of that up by going to a slightly more casual kind of place. So we still kind of keep the refined look and the feel of everything, the flavor blending, all that kind of stuff is still kind of the same, but it's just in a much more fun, kind of casual atmosphere.
And we're calling it refined, not precious, as one of the judges called your food.
I don't mind precious, I'll be precious all day
Now that you
long.
won,
No problem,
Okay, succotash is something I've always wondered about because I never knew it was something could have variations on the ingredients.
Yeah, definitely. It's just kind of a southern thing, and I think for the most part, I think if you looked it up, it's kind of almost like a throw together. Like it's kind of just sauteing a few things up. I like to use corn, and I take some bell peppers. I make my own Mexican spice mix. I roast off the peppers with that. I put a little bit of sea asparagus in there, and then I make kind of a custard with the corn, and that's what that kind of binds the whole
This is a
succotash.
cool process because, of course, cornstarch, right? It makes sense that it would thicken by itself, but you just use corn to actually make the custard.
All I do is I blitz the corn, I strain it off, I put it into a pot, I cook it out slowly, and then eventually it just comes into a custard and it creams up everything.
How do you acquire, I mean, over the course of a career, how do you acquire this kind of knowledge? Is it sort of place to place, or do you see things and it triggers something that you were thinking of? Or
I think creativity is one of the last things that come to you. You have to expose
Learn all
yourself
the technique.
to lots of different styles and lots of different things like that. And I've always had really good mentors, and that's for me what it comes down to in any business, but especially food and stuff like that. It's diligence. It's Gordon Ramsay taught me so much about diligence and about standards, and if you don't have that, you're in
Okay,
trouble.
let's talk about Gordon Ramsay and scallops, because Hell's Kitchen One of the things that people can't seem to get right is getting the sear right on a scallop, cooking them properly without. So how do we do
I'll show
scallop?
you, but the funny you say that is I forgot the oil over there. So
Nyla, go grab the oil. My daughter, this is why she's here today.
Exactly.
She's interning.
So I'm gonna show you the succotash there. As you can see, it's just lightly kind of bound nicely in there. You have some sea asparagus in there. You have the peppers. You have the corn.
Now, does succotash always have corn in it? Is that the main ingredient, or is it really just to throw together a stuff?
I think it's kind of, you can do potatoes, or that's more of like a hash. So I've always done, whenever I do succotash, it's always corn.
Okay, so the frying pan has to obviously be hot, as does the oil.
Exactly. So you have to have a nice hot frying pan, and I like to put a bit of cornmeal on the scallops because it gives a nice little crust. I put a little bit of the same spice mix in there as well, and the cornmeal kind of helps you get a nice little crust, but it doesn't. Sometimes scallops, when you try to sear them too hard, and especially in a Teflon pan, all the sugar will come out, and then you get those black bits all over it.
Oh, and Gordon.
Yeah, Gordy.
Hey, Gordy. He's not really a Gordy,
You
is he?
Canadianized him. I love that. He is not a Gordy at all. How are things going at Ensemble? I mean,
awesome. Yeah.
To open your own place and to have that sort of door opening day and sort of that level of responsibility and pride in what you're doing and everything, it's got to be just a trip.
It's awesome. It's so exciting. You know, the biggest thing to me is the staff that I have, and they all came with me from Lumiere and DB Bistro. We only hired basically 2 new members of staff, and that's a huge.
This does not happen very often in your industry.
No,
I mean, usually people sort of scatter. So
they're not. We've got an amazing team, and that's really what it comes down to in the food industry.
You really need that for a kitchen to work, and the front of house to work, and for the service to work. Because if you don't have people that are team players, it's just going to fall apart.
It is, and what I think people forget about the restaurant is it's hospitality. It's the hospitality industry. You're there to take care of your guests and to
make them
be the host.
Back.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about giving them something that they're not getting somewhere else, and they're not getting at home, and they're spending their good money at your restaurant. So it's a process from the time you walk in to the time you go to the bathroom to the time you leave.
I thought that was a really interesting thing that you said this morning. You know, my job is to make sure people come back again.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting perspective, and just a small tweak from getting them in there in the first place.
Yeah, you can't let your ego and think that people, just because you won Top Chef or this and that, or you've got a good background, that people are going to come back. That's not what it's about. It's what they put in their mouth and everything else. So as you can see, I got the oil a lot hotter now.
A lot hot.
And I'm just going to kind of turn it down. And you don't want a ton of oil. You want just enough to kind of check the scallops, and you don't want to kind of keep flipping them and moving them around. You kind of want to just do a little peek underneath, and you want to keep it in the same spot because that's kind of forming a little crust or barrier in there.
Right. So is it a touch thing with the scallops? Is it a timing thing when you know that they're done? Because you want to get them the right consistency.
See, one thing that Gordon Ramsay does, and I've adapted, I've done the same thing since I've worked for him, is these scallops. This is actually a scallop and a half. It's not a full. These aren't.
So you cut them.
I cut them, this way, and so that way they only take about 30 seconds to cook. As you can see, I only flipped them on that side.
That's it.
That's it. But if you have big, the big fat scallops like that, you can't cook them properly. By the time you get in the middle,
they get that
they're
weird
going to be
texture.
chewy, and they're going to be gross.
Rubbery on the outside, chewy on the ends.
Exactly.
Nice.
Okie dokie, right on top of our succotash.
Yeah,
now, of course, we're doing the scallops today, but what kind of other stuff is on the menu? Because Mike's really excited. He and his daughter are going for dinner tomorrow night.
Yeah, I've always wanted to, and what I was kind of doing at Lumiere before, but now it's really I consider what I do as modern French, and I use flavors from really all over the world. Like this is kind of a southern kind of theme.
Yeah.
I do a Thai broth, which is hugely popular. I do a southern pulled pork sandwich. I do, a Japanese hamachi dish.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry, that's my tell right there. And this is just a sea asparagus?
That's sea asparagus and lightly smoked maizatake mushrooms. And then what I do with I take all the scallop trim, and then I take a light chicken jus, and I actually roast off all the scallops and stuff. And some shallots and things like that, and so that sauce should taste just like roasted scallops as well.
That is precious.
Yeah.
That is absolutely beautiful, Dale.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So happy for you.
If you want to check out Ensemble, of course you can. You can go online to get a peek at their menu if you want to decide in advance what you're going to order. And of course, congratulations to the first Top Chef Canada, Dale MacKay. The series is currently re-airing if you want to check it out, but we know who won.
Yeah, you can also check out Global. They're showing it on their website as well. We're going to take a break.